This is Part 5 of Section R.7, Rational Expressions. Example 7. Now we want to add and subtract rational expressions using the least common multiple. We'll have to find a common denominator here. Notice the first one is subtraction, and it says, for Part A, use the results found in Example 6b to perform the indicated operation and simplify your result. So notice B had the same two rational expressions. So we know the common denominator. We've already worked that out. And now that's what we want to do here, is subtract using that common denominator. So what we'll do is write the expression now with the denominator factored. I already factored this up here. X squared minus x minus 2 was x minus 2 x plus 1. And then we're going to subtract 3 over, and then this one factored was x times x minus 2 squared. But written like that, all we've done is factor the denominators. We do not have a common denominator yet, but we know what that's supposed to be. It's supposed to be x minus 2 squared, x plus 1. So I'm going to look at my first one and say, well, what's missing here? I need the x by itself, and I need another x minus 2. So I'll multiply the top and the bottom by x times x minus 2. That's the same thing as multiplying this fraction by 1, because that's just 1, right? Look at the other one. What's missing here? I'm just missing the x plus 1. So I'll multiply the top and bottom by x plus 1. Again, that's the same as multiplying that rational expression by the number 1. So it's perfectly legal to do in algebra to multiply something by 1. It doesn't change its value. Okay, so now what do I have? I have all of this. I have 7x times x minus 2 minus 3 times x plus 1 all over my common denominator of x minus 2 squared, x plus 1. Okay, so notice the numerator and denominator have to change, because we have whatever we add to the top, we have to add to the bottom, or multiply the top, we multiply the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to leave my denominator as it is. Remember the directions say do the operation, but leave the denominator as it is. So I'm going to distribute 7x squared minus 14x, distribute negative 3x minus 3, all over my common denominator. And then combine like terms. So what do we have here? We have 7x squared minus 17x minus 3 all over x minus 2 squared, x plus 1. Now we're supposed to simplify our result. That would mean if this will factor, we should factor it. But this is prime. It will not factor, so this is our final result. Okay, the next one will start from the very beginning, because we haven't already worked out what the least common denominator is. So it said to factor each denominator. Well, it might look silly, but I'm going to go through the step, because I'm going to show that x minus 3, if I factor it, it's just x minus 3. And that's the factor, x minus 3. It won't factor any further. Same thing for x plus 3. The only factor for x plus 3 is x plus 3. So the LCM is each different factor I found, the product, multiply these to the highest power I found them. This one to the first, this one to the first. There's my LCM. So let's use the method we did a minute ago. Write the rational expression factored. Okay, all I'm doing now is really putting parentheses on this, because the denominators didn't factor further. And now ask myself, what is the first rational expression missing from the LCM? It's missing x plus 3, but I can't just put that on the bottom. That would change the whole thing. I have to put it on the top also. Okay, what is the other one missing? It's missing the x minus 3. So now you see we have a common denominator. Now I don't want to cancel these out, I just put them there. The whole point was to get a common denominator. So as we did before, what's on the top? X plus 3 minus 2x minus 1, x minus 3, all over x minus 3, x plus 3. So we've got to FOIL these two, distribute here, combine like terms, see if we can factor and simplify this thing. Okay, so I'm going to distribute. And here I'm going to be really careful. I'm going to use big old brackets and do my foiling because that minus applies to everything that follows. So I want to make it clear that that's what's going to happen. So first times first, 2x squared, and then I've got negative 3x, negative 1x for a total of negative 7x. Outside, outside, inside, inside, and then last times last will give me a positive 3. That's all over our common denominator. Okay, then let's distribute that negative. X squared plus 3x minus 2x squared plus 7x minus 3. And then where does that go? X squared minus 2x squared negative x squared. 3x and 7x plus 10x minus 3. Again, if we could factor the numerator, we would to see if we had any factors we can cancel, but this is prime. So this is our final answer.